Hey guys, welcome to Laird Wellness Live. Scott Laird, Jody Laird.
Good evening. How's everybody tonight?
So hopefully, this is a really weird topic. I think some of y'all are going to think I'm nuts. Other ones are going to look at this and go, oh my God, that's really coming. So take it for what you will. We're just going to share some stuff that we've discovered over the last little while. And I'll show you the sequence of events. And that's what made me kind of go, ooh. And there was one particular thing that made me really go, ooh, my gosh, that's really weird. And so, we've all been in this space for a good almost 2 years now, where the difference between conspiracy theory and the truth is about 6 months. So, how that goes. Yes. Everybody thinks you're nuts. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, there is something to be said here. So, anyhow, we're going to talk about smallpox. And are we talking about chicken pox? Are we talking about the smallpox from like...
that thing that was eradicated in
back
the
in
80s?
the 1800s? Yeah, that one. So how this all started was, well, number one, you remember a few months ago, there was this news story of a frozen vial marked smallpox in a freezer in a lab. And I thought, that's really odd. That's kind of strange, and it's, at the time, it really hit me because things were starting to come out about the whole pandemic and that things were being covered up and this kind of thing. And I almost thought to myself, when you're watching a movie or a TV series about like a serial killer, and they will they'll purposely leak out some information about their next victim.
Yeah.
And I thought, in a sick way, is someone behind the scenes doing this? They're leaking something out, a story about smallpox, purposefully to say, hint, hint, here's what's coming next, and we're telling you about it so that you won't think it's coming next, but really it is.
Well, we've seen that all along the way in the last couple of years.
I mean, call us crazy. You see it, right?
Yep.
I mean, crazier things have happened. Okay, so there was that. Now, just recently, they've come out and said, oh, there was nothing in the vials. We tested them. It's all clear. Nobody has anything to worry about.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, I just saw that online the last couple of days when I've been doing my research, and I was like, I still don't buy it. There's still some kind of something weird here. There's something really weird. And the reason why is not just because of that, but because of other things that have happened. Okay, so there's this other thing. I'm not even going to have a slide about it, but let's talk about it. It was on the news, 2 weeks ago? That crash.
The monkey crash.
The monkey crash, right? So there's this crash of this trailer with these monkeys in it, and, the monkeys escaped. You can't make this stuff up. It belongs in a movie.
And they were on the way to a lab.
They were on their way to a lab. Oh, where do the monkeys belong? The CDC. Oh my gosh, we can't find one of them. Now, a woman has been in contact with the monkey, and she seems to have some kind of reaction.
Including pink eye.
Okay, what's going on? Now, that's okay. So that's just weird in itself. And why are monkeys a concern? Because there's cowpox, there's monkeypox, there is, the chicken pox, there's the smallpox that affect humans. So some of these are for animals only, some are for humans only. Well, let's think back a few minutes, I wish it was, a few months ago, guys. So where did they say this whole pandemic came from? A bat.
Right.
In a wet market. Remember that whole thing? And there's okay, well, are they telling the truth or aren't they? And is it really a bat, or were there experiments and something got loose and they used the bat as a scapegoat? No pun intended. But what is really going on here? And then it's almost like we have this whole stupid story starting over again. And so I'm looking at this going, okay, and I'm going to show you a bunch of slides on this kind of stuff, but just think about this for a minute. If this virus is not scary enough for people, and people are starting to rise up, we see what's happening with the truckers in Canada, for example. By the way, that's spreading all over the world. It's not some little fringe thing. And whoever's calling it a fringe thing is an idiot, because there's millions of people rallying behind these 50,000 or so truckers. It's a huge thing. Don't ignore it, number one. And it's going all over many, many countries. So now if there is a globalist agenda, that's kind of collapsing on them. So what are they going to have to do? Well, if they really want to do this Agenda 2030 thing that a lot of people are talking about, you got to find some other way to lock people down, to control people, and have them do what you want them to do. So what's scarier than this virus? Well, smallpox, it should be a heck of a lot scarier than this. Yep. And if you look at smallpox, you look at if smallpox gets out and you say, well, it's eradicated, they can't get out. We're going to get into that. If it gets out, the death rate is about 30%. And it spreads like wildfire. There would be martial law, I think, for people to say, you must stay in your homes. This is too dangerous for the entire country. Nobody leaves. Everybody stays inside their houses, period. And a smallpox would be a very easy way to do that. So, again, call me conspiracy theorist. Call me whatever you want. I'm seeing stuff, and I've actually made some preparations. I've purchased some things that we'll talk about later for natural remedies, because I think the brimstone's about to hit the fan, in the words of Michael Rood. So decide what you will. I'm going to show you some things, okay? So number one, here is the smallpox story about the vials found. Okay, we've all seen this. Vials labeled smallpox found by a lab worker in a freezer in Pennsylvania. That story kind of came and went. There were other things going on, and nobody really paid much attention. Now it's, like I said, they've said, well, okay, well, we've looked in the vials. Everybody's safe. There's nothing there. Okay. So who really has smallpox, by the way? There are only 2 countries in this world that have vials of real smallpox.
And they are?
And they keep them just in case, they need to create a vaccine, and so they have something to go on. Because God forbid anybody should have smallpox. Apparently it was eradicated officially in 1980. That's what you will see on the WHO website, the World Health Organization. We're going to show you some slides from CDC website as well. So the only 2 countries that actually have vials of this stuff still in existence are the United States of America and Russia.
Ooh, what?
There's a combo. So, so those are the only 2 countries that have it. The only vaccine that is available, that we're going to get into a little later, is controlled 100% by the United States government. Now, there's some other things we're going to show you as well. So, if they control all of the meds, and they control the narrative, and they control the release of said thing, if this were to happen, you can see how this would easily get out of control for average Americans like you and I. All right, so no holds barred tonight, as you can tell. All right, so speaking of no holds barred, I love this woman. I met her. She's like my older sister, Judy Mikovits.
Yeah.
I love Judy. She is awesome. She is just a powerhouse. She's the most intelligent person I have ever met in my life. She's right up there with Peter McCullough, Robert Malone, Judy Mikovits, Dr. Vladimir Zelenko. All of them.
Dr. Lewis.
Dr. Tom Lewis. All of them are my heroes. I love these people. They say it how it is. They know stuff. You've got to listen to these people, okay? So, and I have a little treat for you. You're going to get to listen to what Dr. Judy says. I interviewed her a little while ago. We did not put this on the internet. We did not put this on YouTube. We didn't even put it on BitChute or Rumble or anything like that. So this is on the ministry's website, the Michael Rood Ministry. Yes, we interviewed Judy Mikovits for the Michael Rood Ministry. And that is only available on the app. It is a paid service for the ministry. It is at michaelrood.tv. Now you can get, there's free things on the app. There's 2 weeks free on the app, that kind of thing. But this is on the paid side of it only, because we cannot have this out in the open. I've taken a small 30-second piece of it, but she and I had a 42-minute conversation. And it just went up on the Michael Rood app yesterday.
Really?
It's available.
Ooh.
And I actually sent Judy a copy of it so she can have one, because she was very excited about it and she wanted it. I just texted her the other day. So anyway, so this is a piece of that interview, because I wanted to tell, this was the last question I asked her. And I'm not going to show you the whole answer, but just the piece of what we want to talk about. I asked her, I said, with all the craziness going on, and I said, you have an inside track. She's worked in virology her entire life. Guys, she's worked with Ebola and all these other things, and she told me, you never wear a mask when you're around these things, by the way.
Why?
She worked with Ebola. with no mask, because you don't, by wearing a mask, you suffocate your own immune system. She is very much against wearing a mask out in the open like everybody's doing with a surgical mask. Surgical mask is for surgery. Anyway, if you want to see more of what she says about that, you can watch her video. But this is the 30-second answer she gave when I asked her what's coming next, because you know more than the rest of us. So let us check that out. Here we go.
You kind of have an inside track compared to most all of us watching this as to what's coming next. I'll bet there's things that you're seeing in science that, okay, here's what they're going to pull next on us. What do we need to be watching out for?
Well, I think we've seen that. You know, it's going to be Ebola. It's going to be smallpox. You know, they're rolling out universal flu shots. And so that's where what we've all got to do is realize never again can an inoculation be called immunization.
Okay, so sorry about that. I had the wrong size, but you get the point. You heard what she said. So that is Judy Mikovits telling us flat out, several weeks after this news story broke in Pennsylvania about these 2 vials of smallpox, that she says smallpox comes next, guys. That's how this goes. That's what they're gonna do. From Judy Mikovits, she's been right so far. Why would she not be right about this? That's what has me concerned. You're not seeing any of this anywhere on the news anywhere yet. But I'm trying to get ahead of the curve because I don't want to be taken by surprise again like the last time 2 years ago. So anyhow, that's what she says about it. Let's see what the CDC says about it. Here's the CDC's website about smallpox. Yes, they have a section about smallpox. They have sections for all kinds of different diseases, and it's very helpful information, not knocking the CDC. So they talk about smallpox vaccines and a little bit of the history of where they are and how to get them and this type of thing. So there's that part of it. And then here's something interesting. Check this out. So this is near the bottom of that smallpox vaccine section. I'm going to read what it says in the blue there. Currently, smallpox vaccines are not available to the general public because smallpox has been eradicated. Let's just stop there. If something has been eradicated, that means it is gone forever, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, that's what it says to me. And the virus no longer exists in nature. That should be a period. But we have this sentence afterward that starts with however. However, there is enough smallpox vaccine to vaccinate every person in the United States if a smallpox outbreak were to occur. Wait a minute. You just told me it is eradicated. You just told me it does not exist in nature. How in the world are we going to have an outbreak? And why would you have vaccines for every single American in the stockpile? And there is a national stockpile of this type of stuff. Now, that's interesting in itself.
Sure is.
This is the most interesting thing and the most shocking and the most scary thing that I saw. The reason I looked this up on the CDC website is because in the beginning of our talk here, we mentioned that we were watching a show. We didn't mention we were watching. We were mentioning that in the 1880s, smallpox was a problem.
Right.
So you've heard of the show with Kevin Costner called Yellowstone. Very, very popular series. Jody and I watched it. Yes, there's some choice words. Yes, it's not the most perfect show series out there, but we watched it and we found it entertaining. So after that, they had a prequel. A prequel, of course, is sort of gives some background as to where the show came from. So they created this prequel called 1883. And the premise of that prequel was this show, this Yellowstone show, is basically about this huge ranch in Montana that basically rules everything. And 1883 was the series that tells us how that came to be, how the first settlers came through and they became that family and how they became the Yellowstone Ranch. Anyway, so the very first scene in the very first episode of 1883 was all about smallpox. It was about one guy played by Sam Elliott who had to burn his house down because his whole family had died of smallpox, and he basically left them in the beds, set the house on fire, and poof, there it went. And so it's like, well, gee, that's kind of strange. I've heard about smallpox vials being found in Pennsylvania. And then I interviewed Jody Mikovits, and she said something about smallpox.
Judy,
What did I say, Jody?
Yeah.
Judy. Okay, you saying Jody. Judy Mikovits. And she says something about smallpox. And now I'm seeing something on 1883, and I'm starting to put the pieces together going, wait a minute. You know how this goes, guys. You know how this goes. Sometimes Hollywood is used, and they are asked to put things in the movies by who knows who to get a message across to the general public as sort of a wink, wink, nod, nod.
It's called paradigm shift.
The paradigm shift that, oh, look, there's this crazy thing called the Bourne Identity in a movie. None of that could ever happen.
Yeah.
That government doesn't do that. Yeah, they do. And that's why they put it in the movies. That's why they ask to put it in the movie, so we think it's fiction. We get desensitized to it. So when it actually happens, we never see it coming because we don't think that's possible. Okay? So this is the kind of thing that's running through my conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want, okay? Conspiracy theorist mind as I'm watching 1883. I'm going, there's a few things adding up here that are just adding up a little too good.
What about that article I found
The article you found.
about smallpox?
Do tell.
I can't remember, but it was, you told me to send it to you because it was just like so out there. And it was the one that was talking about what natural remedies and how smallpox works. And it was just written in the last couple months.
Oh, okay. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And we are going to show you something else too that's so interesting. I found a smallpox natural remedies PDF online that was written in 2003. Interesting.
Why?
Speaking of
23
dates.
years later.
Yeah, well, speaking of dates, you're going to find this shocking. Okay, so I'm on the couch watching 1883 going, oh, this is funny. And Jody was there. She watched me do it. I was on my phone. I thought, I'm going to look up smallpox. I looked up smallpox CDC just to see what the CDC said about smallpox. And I found that page that I just showed you. And I started going through, and all of a sudden I found something that was really disturbing. And I stopped in my tracks. I went, oh my God, Jody, look at this. So we saw that the vaccines are controlled by the government, right? So there's a couple of vaccines and they're controlled by the government. Now, there are also some antiviral drugs. Now, if smallpox was eradicated in 1980, when do you think these drugs were developed? I would say probably 1978, 79, so that they could take care of things. They worked, 1980, everything's done, and then they hang on to these vaccines and for future reference, right? Or the vaccines, the antiviral drugs. Well, to my shock and surprise, and I'm sure all the blood left my face and yours is about to, check this out. Here are the two antivirals. Look when they were developed. July 2018. June 2021. Why would you need two new antiviral drugs for a virus that was eradicated in 1980?
Right.
What's going on? July 2018 was right before the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic of 2019. That's suspicious enough. Then, as we're wrapping up this pandemic in June 2021, another one is developed
Yep.
for smallpox.
And what website is
Why? This is the CDC's website. This is the CDC's website. Why is this on here? That's the most shocking thing. Then I started digging even more. Guess what else I found? So this, it's just, crazy thing. Anyway, now we heard about so the CDC has vaccines, right? So the antiviral things, the years they were developed, that scared me enough. I was like, what's going on? That there's no reason to develop these. Why are they developing them? Never mind. Check this out. Okay, so check this. I'm going to show you this one first. Check this out. So then I started poking around. I'm like, no. Okay, here it is. Check it out. This is a press release about smallpox treatment market forecasts. Like, what's the market like to develop new medicines? Well, they check the date on here. It's January 11, 2022. This is just very, very recently, less than a month ago. And look what they're saying. The global smallpox treatment market is anticipated to grow at a significant CAGR, compound annual growth rate, during the forecast period of 2021 to 2027?
Oof.
Why? What's going on? Who knows something that we don't? What is going on here? That makes no sense at all. Why would there be a market for new medications and it be a hot topic and have a significant what did they say, CAGR, compound annual growth rate, and being excited about it and do a press release about it for 2021 to 2027 for a virus that was eradicated in 1980? Something's going on, guys. Okay, now, other than that, we talked about, let's see here. Okay, so we talked about, those are the antivirals, right? The antivirals, that's the hot thing. Now, vaccines. Let's get into, I'm just going to say what it is, okay? If Facebook doesn't like this, I guess they'll take it down or something. But anyway, so let's talk about this. So let's just call them. So the things in the arms, the needles, there has been speculation. Some people have decided not to get them because they see some numbers that are disturbing, that all of a sudden the numbers of people who are having significant lethal reactions to these things are keeping pace with the deaths of people who got the virus, and only the virus. Now, I'm not talking about any other comorbidities or anything like this, but just the virus purely itself. Those numbers are starting to level out, and it's starting to really concern people, and people are starting to look into it. You know what I'm talking about. Now, rewind to smallpox. Let's go back to 2003 and read this paper that I found. Check this out. It is claimed by medical historians, written in April 2003, that the vaccination process of smallpox wiped out smallpox throughout the world. However, the truth is that compulsory vaccination was abandoned because more deaths were caused by the vaccinations than there were cases of smallpox.
Yikes.
Wait a minute. We've seen this. This is a rerun. This is a rerun of things we are seeing in the world, is it not? Okay. You decide what you want on this stuff.
It's funny. I used to be the conspiracy theorist of the family, but
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. There's a real conspiracy, and guess who it's against? You and me. Okay. All right. So now check this out. Okay, if that's not enough for you, let's see. What is the other thing here? Okay. So there's this. I don't know why somebody asked this question. This is like just a totally baited question. This is a question that was answered by somebody in the Daily Beast. The Daily Beast is a very, they're very up on stories. They're like out there right now with answers to the daily news. So check this out. So they're interviewing this doctor about if you were to have the perfect virus to kill people, what would it be? Like, what kind of question is this?
Yeah, right.
Check it out. So if you were a virus, this is his answer. So if you were a virus and choosing the attributes that you wanted, smallpox would be ideal, because it spreads like wildfire and is to some extent more contagious than the original COVID-19 and kills 1 out of 3.
Huh.
That'd be a great virus, wouldn't it? So he's like putting it out there that smallpox would be a much better killer than COVID-19. Okay, add this up, guys, with all the other stuff I've been showing you. Does some of this kind of smell a little fishy?
And it's not even that you had to dig very deep to find all these things.
I'm not on the dark web. I'm on the internet. This is like just out there.
Right.
Okay, so if that's not enough for you, but wait, there's more. Yeah, okay, check this out. Okay, so this again is from the, this was from the CDC website. I have redacted the doctor's name because I don't want to point him out. It's up there though. If you want to sort of pay attention to the wording here, and if you want to take the exact wording and put it in quotation marks in Google, or better yet, DuckDuckGo, you will find this, okay? Just a little hint. But I've redacted it just for respect of the person who's named in here, because they're probably just trying to do their job. It's a doctor. He's probably doing what he thinks is best, and he's probably just blinded. He probably doesn't understand what he's doing. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So here is his description. This was a page I found with bios of people on a task force regarding things like smallpox. And what they're the ones working together with the CDC. I want you to pay close attention to what this person was also responsible for. In order to understand this, you need to understand when people go into the hospital, you can ask nurses and doctors around the country. Some doctors and nurses are doing things right, despite what their hospitals say. Hospitals are pressuring all those folks working under them to do certain things that the doctors and nurses are looking at each other going, this isn't right. Why are we doing this? But I guess we have to. It's our job. And people are dying. Part of the reason a lot of people are dying is something called remdesivir. And it is bad news. And I want you to remember that and then check this out. So with over 20 years of experience conducting and leading infectious disease research, Dr. So-and-so from their data from non-clinical studies have contributed to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA's approvals of Tecovirimat. I forget how to pronounce that. Anyway, that's that one of those antivirals we saw on that previous slide for treatment of smallpox, and remdesivir for the treatment of SARS-CoV-2. He specializes in animal rule regulatory model characterizations, I don't know what that means, and therapeutic development for highly infectious viral pathogens. He possesses, pay attention, extensive expertise in managing U.S. government-funded biocontainment assets.
Which means?
What is they're containing something in the bio world, and it's an asset to the U.S. government.
Got it.
Pay attention to that, okay? To advance public-private partnerships with focus toward advanced development of medical countermeasures. So in other words, they capture the nasty in order to develop medical countermeasures against it. This is the guy, one of the guys, who was responsible for remdesivir. I don't agree with remdesivir. I am not a doctor. I see what it is doing to people. I hear other doctors talking about it who are much more intelligent than I. Remdesivir's not a good choice. So the same person who helped bring remdesivir to the market is now helping bring smallpox stuff to the market. Can this be trusted? You decide. All right. So now, the market forecast, we already talked about that. So what do you do? What do you do? Okay, so say this thing is coming at us. What are we going to do? So this article that we referenced from April 2003 has some pretty good advice. So here's some stuff right here to do. What do you do? So number one, see, this is why Jody and I always push our Biologic Blueprint program. We want you to be as healthy as possible now before some crap like this comes your way. Okay? That is what is making the difference because we see it all the time. People think they're fine. They don't need to get vitamin D, vitamin C. Bioquercetin, what's that? And then calling us the next day, Scott and Jody, I have COVID. What do I do? Right. Oh, well, first of all, you should have been taking some things as prophylactics. Vitamin C, vitamin D, looking after yourself, stop going through the drive-through, get healthy now, because it's only going to get worse, guys. If we are truly getting into the days of revelation here, it only gets worse from here. It doesn't get better. So if you thought this last virus was something, this is just a practice round. You wait. This is going to get worse. You have got to protect yourself now with
prepared.
And be prepared. Be prepared with the right stuff in your cupboard. Be prepared with the right food in your fridge. Do the right things. Be as healthy as possible, because you know what? That's the best defense against this thing. Take a look. You do not have to fear smallpox, says this article from April 2003. Even if you should develop it, as long as you immediately do some simple things. Quit eating. What's the best thing to do when you get sick? What does your body tell you when you get sick? I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. Why? Because you're supposed to fast. That's why. Immediately quit eating and go to bed and rest. Drink pure water only when you're thirsty. Smallpox is a disease of the bon vivant. Bon vivant. Epicurean who overeats on a daily basis like 99% of Americans, especially animal foods.
I think this is the article that I was talking
Is
about.
it?
That is
Quite possibly.
old. You know, the way it's written, you can tell it's a little bit older and that
Yep.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So anyway, this is it's basically be a vegan. And we knew that because when I worked at the Hallelujah Diet, that's how people would reverse cancer. They would eat a vegan diet, do juicing to get maximum amount of nutrients in with the lowest amount of digestive effort, and that would reverse cancer. And so it would obviously reverses other things too. So basically, if something happens, stop eating anything from an animal. If it had a face or had a mother, forget it. That includes eggs, meat, dairy, cheese. Do we do some of those things right now? Yeah, we do. To a great extent? Nope. We do a little bit. We do just a little bit. So that way, if something like this comes around, back right off, no problem. I can do this, right? Okay, so that's number one. Go vegan. Number two. So I started poking around. I found another article, and I'm sorry I couldn't find it to post it up here. I'm going to post this in the chat. I'll put up this PDF if I can do that. That we just read from, so you can read the whole thing. But in another article that I read, I found what you could do medication-wise or homeopathic-wise if you had the smallpox sores. What can you do? So there is a plant called the pitcher plant, and it is Sarracenia purpurea. Here's what it looks like on Amazon. This is the pitcher plant. It's a carnivorous North American plant. It's like a Venus flytrap type of thing.
Yeah, that's the one every little boy had because it was cool and we fed it crickets and flies.
But was that a Venus flytrap or was that this thing? That's a different thing. That's from South America.
Our family bought a pitcher plant for a van from Lowe's when we first moved here.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And
that was a pitcher plant.
Little terrarium type.
Okay,
thing.
okay. So we did buy one of these.
Yeah.
So this is an extract from that plant. It is a homeopathic tincture. So basically, they dilute it, many times over, so that basically, it's a concept called like cures like.
Kind of like a regular vaccine.
Yeah, kind of like a vaccine. Yeah, it basically trains it's a natural vaccine. It trains the body to go after whatever is ailing you. So it's like, for example, when someone gets a bee sting and they're allergic to bee stings, the way you can help someone get over that is by giving them minute amounts of homeopathic bee venom. And it basically retrains the immune system to not overreact to such things and cause allergic reactions. So anyway, here's something that is very helpful. Again, this is just a snapshot from Amazon. You can see the bottom right there, Prime. This is Amazon. So we bought 10 vials of this stuff just in case. And when I bought it, I kid you not, it said this item is in high demand. Why is this in high demand? There's an obscure little thing.
It's because some people have their eyes open and some people do not have their eyes open.
So get your eyes open. So that's number one. Number two, another very easy thing to get on Amazon, yarrow tea. This is good for many things as well. It's just basically an immune system enhancer, and it helps you relax. It helps you go to sleep, that type of thing. And so yarrow tea, we bought 3 boxes of this stuff. And we have it. We have this, and we have the pitcher plant extract in our emergency area, where also we have other things for folks that if they get in trouble with COVID and they don't know what to do, sometimes we have stock for friends and we pull it out. So anyway, so everyone should have a stockpile like that. If you are on the ball, just know that other people aren't, okay? So if you're on the ball, you have to be on the ball for more people than just you. That's the way this works when the brimstone hits the fan, okay? If you are one of those people that's being prepared, know that probably 6 or 7 of your neighbors are not, and that's okay. God has prepared you to be their supplier during this time. It's okay. It's not that you hoard it. It's not that you barricade yourself and put a pistol out the window and guard your house. No, bring community together, and if you're that person who's smart enough to store this stuff, store more than you need. Okay. All right, so there's my conspiracy theorist little thing for the day. How do you like that? Okay, so anyway, Research this stuff, guys. Go poking around. Go to the CDC website. It's all there for all to see. And go and see it before things start getting changed, because you know things start to change. By the way, if you looked up the word, what was it the other we saw? Racism, vaccination. Words like this, they're online. Definitions are being changed to suit a narrative, to sort of take the alarm bells off of people who have their eyes open, and so that they see the revised versions of these definitions and go, oh, it's not what I thought. See, but it's been changed. So go to the CDC website, take snapshots like I have done, get your research, keep it in your computer, don't put it in the cloud, have it locally on your computer so you can refer back to it, because I'm telling you guys, this stuff's going to change. Stuff changes all the time. We've seen it in the last 18 months. There's suspicious things that have gone on with websites that we're supposed to be able to trust. Stuff is being changed and revised. If you see something, snap it, grab it, keep it, hang on to it, learn from it, and memorize it, because we may not have the internet like this forever. You've got to get stuff in your possession and memorize it and have it. That's why I have a whole showcase of books over here. Literal books, because I don't trust that the stuff, I don't trust I can go online and go, well, I'll just look it up one day. Nope. Those days are going to come to a close. You got to have it in hard copy, or at least on a private computer in your possession. All right? Okay, so do it. And if you know of anybody who needs to get healthier right now, and that's someone we can help, go ahead and tell them about it. Go to lairdwellness.com/blueprint, pass that around, give it to all your friends. And if your friend says, hey, so-and-so told me to come to you guys, you know what? We're going to cut you a check to say thank you. This isn't some kind of pyramid scheme or something like that. We are here to help other folks. And if you bring someone and you help that person, we think you should benefit from that. And we just want to say thank you. So that's why we do it. All right. So that's lairdwellness.com/blueprint. Again, thank you again for watching. I hope you paid attention. I hope this made at least the wheels start turning. And if you see stuff like this about other things, Ebola, probably not. You know why? Because it kills people too fast. It can't be used for something to scare people and lock people down, if that is indeed the agenda. But if you see other things like this and you think we should know about it, tell us. Email us, okay? info@lairdwellness.com. We'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.